Jared Sandler here with your Week 1 NFL and Dallas Cowboys recap. Once baseball ends, we're going to separate these two videos, but for the next few weeks, we're going to put them all together. And let's begin with the NFL and stay in the NFC East. The Eagles had a 17-0 lead over the Washington football team, but the Washington football team came back and won. And I want to talk about both teams quickly. The Eagles look like a mess offensively. They just, in general, look like a mess. And I'm not big Eagles hater like a lot of DFW folks are. I'm just, telling it like it is, or at least how I see it. There are a lot of people over the last few years who have come out and questioned Carson Wentz's leadership and just the connection he has. And I think sometimes you can see a quarterback who really does connect well and leads well. You can't quantify it, but something just looks off with them. I know they didn't have Miles Sanders, and it doesn't help that they lack receivers who can catch. They have two tight ends who are really good, and the Cowboys right now don't appear to have any. We'll get to that in a little bit. But just something looked off with them. Now, it didn't help that they went up against the Washington football team's front seven. That is a really, really good group. Chase Young and Ryan Kerrigan combined to make the big play that essentially sealed the game, forcing a sack fumble. But that front seven is just so good for the Washington football team. I'm personally not a big Dwayne Haskins guy. I know he did help lead them to a comeback win yesterday, but I do think that they've got the makings for a really bright future. I don't know if this is the year, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they finish second in the NFC East. I don't think the NFC East has a second good team. I'm not big on the Eagles. I'm not sure about the Giants just yet, although if asked to pick right now, I think I'd say the Giants. But what I do think is that there's only one team that has 9 or more wins in the NFC East when all is said and done. And I don't think the Cowboys are by any means, a great team just yet. I know a lot of people, are picking them to do this and do that. I have them losing in the NFC Championship game, and they certainly didn't look like that type of team yesterday. It is just 1 week. But going into the year, not just influenced by yesterday, going into the year, I thought that the NFC East had one team that was going to finish over 500 and 3 teams that would be 500 or worse. But moving forward beyond this year, that Washington football team could be one that we can no longer just laugh at with all their mess-ups and embarrassing twists and turns. I'm excited to see the Giants offense tonight. I'm a big Daniel Jones guy. I wasn't when they drafted him. I was like everyone else, like, what are you doing? But I love the ability to be mobile. I think he's got a good arm. He made some bad decisions last year, but so do a lot of rookie quarterbacks. I think he also dealt with Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram. Both, are they playing, are they not? And when they were playing, they weren't 100%. Saquon obviously wasn't great last year, but if you were to take the Washington football team defense and the Giants offense, you'd have a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion, right now. But they lack in the other areas. But excited to see the Giants, though. All right, as far as other quarterback talks, I've hit on some and I've missed on some. I've said all off season, Tom Brady's washed. Again, asterisk here. It's been 1 week. You can have a good week 1 and be bad ultimately when all is said and done. You could have a bad week 1 and have a good, let's make that clear. But Tom Brady continues to do the things that, I think made him, in my opinion, washed up and heavy on the decline. Yesterday as he did last year. The arm strength isn't there. The decision-making because of that isn't there. The accuracy isn't everything is not as good. So everyone is saying, the Bucs are going to be so good. I don't think the Bucs are going to be that good. Now, I actually think their defense is better than what people believe. And they might be a playoff team as a wild card. Remember, there are 3 wild cards now. So I don't think they're going to be atrocious. I just don't think that Tom Brady's going to make this, such a dynamic offense. Drew Brees, another guy who I think is good, and I think their team is really good. I think that the Saints have a really good team. For so many years in Drew Brees' career with them, it's been about the offense, but that's a really good defense. I think they could represent the NFC because of how good their team is. But Drew Brees, to me, is no longer great. He's just good. That's not a bad thing. You can win a Super Bowl with a good quarterback, but he is not great anymore. Now, I missed on Aaron Rodgers. At least, it seems that way. The last few years, Aaron Rodgers has been above average. his name has given off the appearance that he's great. But if you look at the numbers and if you just watch the games, he is not as good as he used to be. Yesterday, however, he looked like an MVP. I mean, he made throw after throw after throw. Now, the Vikings secondary, which used to be awesome, is no longer, other than Harrison Smith, who to me is maybe trending a little bit downwards now. That's not a good secondary. Doesn't change the fact that Aaron Rodgers made some great throws. And remember, he's doing it to Devontae Adams and who else? Allen Lazard, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Allen Lazard actually is, I think a nice receiver, but it's not like he's got the receiving core that Tom Brady has, or even Drew Brees has, now that they've got Emmanuel Sanders to join in with Michael Thomas and, of course, Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. I thought Aaron Rodgers made some great throws, and certainly based off of week 1, he proved me wrong. All right, as far as teams, through week 1, I'm looking good on one kind of, underdog prediction and looking terrible on another. Let's start with the one I'm looking good on. I really like Arizona. I think Arizona is a good team. Their defense isn't great yet, and I know that's not Cliff's specialty, but I'm a Cliff Kingsbury guy. I believe in what he can do at the NFL level, and I think that their offense is going to be super dynamic. It was fun watching Nuke with Kyler Murray. Kyler is so good at 100 yards yesterday. And remember, 49ers defensively, that's a really good group. That is a really good group. Arizona came back, got the win. I really like Arizona. I think that they win that division. They were my pick to win the division. And I don't think San Francisco is going to be nearly as good because of Jimmy G. I think a lot of things came together last year, and it made up for the fact that Jimmy G is just kind of, he's okay. As we speak, George Kittle's status for the rest of the season is uncertain. Yesterday when he left due to the knee or leg injury, some people thought he was done for the year. He did come back out there and just didn't look the same. There's supposed to be more word on his status today. Obviously, if George Kittle's out for an extended period of time, that's going to be tough sledding for that offense, which is already without Deebo Samuel here for the next few weeks. I like Arizona. I also picked Detroit to win the division in the NFC North. Don't really love Chicago. I know they came back and beat Detroit, and maybe I just shouldn't love Detroit. I don't, love Minnesota. I have in the past. Last year I said Minnesota would represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. And based on my Aaron Rodgers opinions, which, as we just mentioned yesterday, were maybe potentially proven to be very wrong, I don't love Green Bay. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is going to play like that, Green Bay runs away with the division because their defense is good enough as long as Kenny Clark isn't out for a long period of time. They lost him yesterday. Their standout D tackle. He's an anchor for them in stopping the run, but they can rush the passer. I think their secondary yesterday got beat up because they got out to a big lead and they were just trying to control the game. And, Kirk Cousins is, I think good and made some throws, and Adam Thielen stepped up. But I don't worry too much about the Packers secondary. I thought the Lions were going to win the division, and maybe they still do. They didn't look like it yesterday. They looked like the same old Lions. Now, they should have won the game in that, Matt Stafford threw a great pass to DeAndre Swift in the end zone in the waning seconds to win the game, and Swift just dropped it. Just straight up dropped it. But Matt Stafford also threw a costly interception prior to that to set up the Bears taking the lead. Anthony Miller with a great catch. And hey, credit Mitch Trubisky. He made the throw there in that big spot. So looking good on the Cardinals, not so much on the Lions. Sam Darnold, it's just not it. I know the Bills have a good defense. We're going to talk about the Bills in a second. And I'm a USC guy, as you guys know. But that final year Darnold was at USC, I just thought the decision-making was really bad. And that's fine. Young quarterbacks, oftentimes bad decision-making happens. It typically doesn't happen as much in college, but it can happen. He just hasn't seemed to improve his decision-making. And maybe it's just a product of playing for the Jets and not having a ton around him. They gave him Le'Veon Bell, and Le'Veon Bell is washed. He's not the same. It does seem like Jamison Crowder's a good receiver, but does he have that stud number one receiver? Probably not. He just doesn't seem to be making good decisions. This is a big year for Sam Darnold. Went up against the Bills. I think the Bills, they're going to go as Josh Allen goes. Josh Allen's another guy. It's the decision-makings and maybe the ball security. He lost 2 fumbles yesterday. I don't think their offense is good enough to constantly overcome that. Their defense is really good. But Josh Allen has the ability to be a top 5 quarterback in this league. I mean, if you just watched him yesterday, the athleticism, he's got the arm, he can make the throws. He's just now got to know when to make the right throws and, protecting the ball a little bit more. But the Bills, to me, are the best team in that division, not the Patriots. I do think the Dolphins, I like them. I know, didn't win yesterday. I like the Dolphins. I like Brian Flores, but I think the Bills win that division. I'm a big Sean McDermott guy. A team that listen, like I said, seems like the Cardinals are looking good right now. My pick there. The Lions, not so much. I have the Browns making the playoffs, and I look like a total moron with that because the Browns just looked like the same old Browns. I thought second year with the Odell-Jarvis combo, they got 17 good tight ends. They've got, 2 really good running backs. Baker rebounding off of a bad year. Sometimes it takes a bad year to have a great year. Kevin Stefanski being what we believe to be a real head coach compared to Freddie Kitchens. And the Ravens are really good. So they played a really good team. But, boy, the Browns looked really bad. And, I just worry that despite all this talent that they have offensively, that it's just going to be the same old for the Browns. There you go. Those are my NFL thoughts. All right, let's get to the Cowboys. Let's start with actually, you know what? We're going to do a separate video for the Cowboys. I'm making an audible on the fly. Separate video for the Cowboys. You can go elsewhere on this channel to find that video. It will be on the channel, so tune in for that.